Welcome to the Spinning Rock podcast. Conversations for the curious, the seekers, and the builders of tomorrow. With your host, Utkal. May these episodes move you, challenge you, and remind you of your place in the story. Please, enjoy.
Okay, welcome back to episode 2 of the Spinning Rock podcast. I'm your host, Utkal, and today we're diving into one of my favorite topics, football. The NFL season is right around the corner, and it's always time to make some bold predictions. So today I'm breaking down the AFC. Who's looking like contenders, who might surprise us, and who's in for a rough year. So I'll go division by division, East, North, South, and West. Talk about some of the teams, some key players, and then, of course, just break it down how I see the year going for all these teams and how the divisions will shake out. At the end, I'll wrap it up with my playoff predictions and which AFC team I see in the championship game and which one will be making the Super Bowl this year. All right, let's get into it. Let me start with a division I know very well. With me being a Patriots fan, the Patriots have actually won this division, I believe 17 times since 2000. So that's 17 out of 25. I believe the Bills have won it for the last 7 years. So it's Buffalo's time, but I remember back in the day, we would run roughshod over this division. Remember Tom Brady? Yeah, he used to be pretty good. Anyway, finishing last, I have the New York Jets at 5-12. A lot of people are hyped about Aaron Glenn coming in. I don't believe he's a bad coach, but your biggest addition to your team can't be a coach who had one of the worst defenses in the league. I'm sorry. I know most of their personnel was hurt, but you can't be happy about the way their defense played. I attribute their toughness more so to Dan Campbell than Aaron Glenn. I don't believe he's a bad coach. I just don't think he can turn them around in 1 year. Don't believe in Justin Fields at all. I believe he'll be a decent fantasy quarterback, but I don't think he'll be able to push the ball down the field consistently, be able to give it to Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall there. I have them finishing last. I wouldn't be surprised if they finish higher than this team, though, which might be in shambles. The Miami Dolphins coming in at third place with 7-10. Mike McDaniel is on the hot seat. I think there's two types of coaches. You got like the Dan Campbells, the D'Amico Ryans, Mike Vrabel's just tough nosed, gritty, know how to, make you run through a brick wall for them. And then you got the wizards, the offensive minded geniuses like Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay. And Mike McDaniel falls into that second category. The thing is, you got to start winning football games, man. You can't be just there because of your offensive prowess. And we've yet to see if he can really rally a team around him. I mean, I know Tua likes him, but like when your star receiver wants to be traded every other day, it's not really a good look on, the head coach. So I think he's on the hot seat. I don't believe Tua can stay healthy for a full season. Sad to say, but it is a contact sport. And yeah, the Dolphins, they're just not a tough team. It is hard playing in Miami earlier in the year, so they'll get some of those wins. But I think 7-10 is a good spot for them. I don't believe they'll be a playoff team this year. So yeah, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle. They traded for Minka, but he's a little over 30. He's on the back end of that career. So yeah, Dolphins finish in third. With my second place team, I'm not going to be biased here. I think the Patriots will finish second. I have them going 10-7. New coach, Mike Vrabel, huge upgrade from Gerard Mayo. Second year of Drake May. Spent the most money in free agency. It's hard to not see them being good this year. They have the second easiest schedule in the league. Spent a lot of money on their defense. Have 6 new starters. I love Robert Spillane. He's a beast. Their back end is locked in. 2 really, really good corners in Gonzo and Carlton Davis. Stephon Diggs. I think he had an underrated year in Houston last year. I think he'll be back to being that 1,000-yard receiver that Drake May needs. This name will surprise a lot of people, but Efton Chisholm III, he will be an absolute beast for this team. I wrote an article about him before the year. He's an undrafted guy coming from Eastern Washington, same school that Cooper Kupp went to. He broke all his records. He will be their new Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola, that slot guy that they can count on. He had a beast of a preseason, just made the team today, and really looking forward to how he plays. Their third-round pick, Kyle Williams. He's a great route runner. He can get that separation. See what he can become. Mac Hollins, Kayshon Boutte, Demario Douglas, they got that depth at receivers, so I don't believe it'll be as big a problem as everyone else, but I'm excited for the Patriots this year, man. I think they can really be good. They can really be in any game. They can compete with anyone. I think they have one of the best defenses in the league, and it's really on Drake May to see if he can make that leap, to see if they can be a real contender, possibly. But with that being said, I do have the Buffalo Bills finishing at the top of the division. Winning the division once again, going 12-5. They're just a really well-oiled machine. I mean, Josh Allen, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, great leader, just knows how to rally the guys around him. I mean, there's a reason they've won the division. They got good coaching, great players, solid players. I think their receivers are actually underrated. Khalil Shakir had a great year last year. I think he'll be that consistent guy for them. Keon Coleman, I think he can take a low leap. He's a pretty big receiver. They signed Josh Palmer, I believe, as well. I think he can make some contributions for them. I really like Kincaid too. And they just signed James Cook again. So I just think they're just the most consistent team, and I can't see them losing the division. And yeah, so Buffalo wins the division. makes the playoffs. And yeah, that's it for the AFC East. Sorry about that. Speaking about the AFC West, let's get into that. At the 4th place spot, I have the Las Vegas Raiders finishing with a 7-10 record, which is probably better than most people would expect for them. I believe their over-under is about 5.5, 6.5, something like that. So I do have them hitting that over. They upgraded tremendously at head coach and quarterback. Going from Antonio Pierce to Pete Carroll and Aiden O'Connell to Geno Smith. I think that'll give them a low bump. They have that man back there, Max Crosby, just unreal motor, just keeps going. I don't think they can make a full jump to being one of the best, being a playoff team, but I think they can win 7 games, which would be a drastic improvement from where they were last season. Their secondary also needs drastic improvement. So I think 4th place is fitting for them. Finishing 3rd, I have the most hyped team in the offseason. A lot of people like this team, the Denver Broncos. I do think they got better just on paper by adding Hufanga and Greenlaw from the Niners. Their defense is nasty. Nick Bonito, amazing player. Patrick Surtain, best corner in the game. But I do think they're going to have a little bit of a downer. I have them going 9-8. I can see 10-7. But I do think they have a really tough division, tough schedule outside of that. Year 2, Bo Nix. I think he had an amazing rookie year, 29 touchdowns, which is second most all time to Justin Herbert. I think he's going to come back to earth a little bit. I do like RJ Harvey, the second round running back that they have, Sean Payton's system. They always like their jokers, but I wouldn't be surprised if they made the playoffs. But, I'll take them 3rd in their division. I think they're lacking some playmakers on the outside. Cortland Sutton is fine. Marvin Mims, number 2. Yeah, I just think they need at least one more guy to kind of be in contention for the division. Coming in number 2, I have the LA Chargers. Now, the Rashawn Slater injury kind of had me second guessing if they'd be 2nd or 3rd. I still have confidence in Harbaugh, their system. They love running the ball. They got Amari and Hampton. And who's their backup running back? Oh, Najee. Yeah, Najee's their starter, and then they drafted Amarian in the first round this year. So they do love running that ball. Justin Herbert, man, it's time for him to live up to the hype. He's one of the most talented quarterbacks that's ever played the position, no question. But he doesn't have a playoff win, and he doesn't really play well in big spots. So this might be the year for him to prove it. See if he is, that guy, or if he can be, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But I have them finishing 2nd, 11-6 sounds about right. I think they do make the playoffs as a wild card. And yeah, Harbaugh's team always is, gritty, tough. I don't know if they have the number 1 scoring defense like they did last year, but Derwin James, they always have a good defense and some good players. But I do have Kansas City finishing first, like they always do, going for their 9th straight division title, which is crazy to say. I believe they'll tie the Patriots record with 9 straight division titles. And I believe they'll have a great bounce back regular season. Bounce back meaning getting blown out in the Super Bowl. I mean, they went 15-2 last year, so pretty crazy down year when you think about it. But Mahomes, he's thrown the deep ball in the preseason. You saw that shot to Tyquan Thornton, sheds tear, Patriots 2nd round pick. But yeah, I hope the light show comes back. He's just an exciting player to watch, man. And they got some nice weapons in Worthy, Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown. So, a couple of those guys were hurt last year, so I think they can take full advantage of that. And Andy Reid's always cooking stuff up on the offensive side, so I think they'll be fine. They're always fine. They're always going to be in the mix. They made about 6-7 straight AFC Championship games, so I think they'll be there again. So the Chiefs coming in number 1. I don't think their defense will be as good as it has been in the past couple of years. I think they'll regress a little bit, but I think the offense can catch up and they'll make up for some of it. Yeah, so I have Kansas City number 1, the Chargers finishing 2, Denver at 3, and the Raiders at 4. And I have the Chiefs and the Chargers making the playoffs. Moving on to the AFC South. It's an interesting division. The last place team, I have the Indianapolis Colts. I think they finished 6-11. I think they're easily the worst team in the division. I mean, they're starting Daniel Jones at quarterback. Whenever you're starting Daniel Jones, I'm sure the fan base doesn't have much hope, especially when you're benching the number 3 overall pick from a couple years ago. I feel bad for, their fans, man. I mean, imagine drafting a quarterback number 3 and you just can't even start for your team. But I mean, that's the risk you take, drafting a project like that. He's about 21 years old still, so I think he still has a little bit of time to develop. But he has the inability to make basic reads like the one that got him crushed in the preseason game. So I don't blame them for starting a veteran like Daniel Jones, who probably is more accustomed to the system that Steichen likes to run. The thing is, Steichen's teams are never bad, so I don't think they can be the worst team in the league, but I think they'll win 5, 6, 7-ish games. Sounds about right for them. Jonathan Taylor, really like Jonathan Taylor. I don't know if he'll have a big year. He's an amazing running back, so I hope he stays healthy. Really like watching him play, but Josh Downs, sleeper in fantasy. But yeah, Colts will finish 4th. 3rd place, I have the Tennessee Titans finishing 7-10. Rookie Cam Ward, man. He is an impressive guy. I really like his demeanor, his leadership. He's got in a fight with Jeffrey Simmons. I think that's a positive sign, just showing that his voice kind of is already mattering in that locker room, and he's kind of taken over as that voice. So I think he can have a CJ Stroud, Jaden Daniels-esque rookie season. I don't believe the team will be as good as those teams, but I think he can put up big numbers. Calvin Ridley coming off a year where he got suspended for gambling. he should be big time for them. They drafted a couple rookies that look decent, so Tony Pollard is there, so I think the Titans can have a pretty good year. Coming in at second, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars, who traded their first-round pick next year for Travis Hunter, which was a pretty crazy trade to make if you're not trading up for a quarterback. So I feel like that has to work out for them, or else they're pretty much screwed. They have a new head coach in Liam Cohen. He's coming from Tampa Bay, where he had he didn't make Baker look good, but he gave Baker his best season he's ever had. Duval, yeah, I'm not super high on the Jags. I think they'll finish about 9-8. I can see 8-9. Missing the playoffs, but Trevor Lawrence, man, what a story. I feel like he was one of those guys that you think, like, just coming into the league, he'll be a surefire superstar. I mean, he has, like, I feel like he has that it factor that kind of like Joe Burrow has, Josh Allen, obviously Mahomes, but, maybe like the swag a little bit, like the pedigree, but hasn't really worked out for him. He throws a lot of hospital balls. He can't really read the defense all too well. He's got Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter, and I mean, this is the year. Like, if he doesn't perform this year, they might think about moving off of him, because he might just not be a franchise quarterback at that point. So, big year for Trevor Lawrence. I think he can semi-deliver, but I don't think they're going to be like some sort of juggernaut. And I think that defense is a little shaky, and I think Travis Hunter playing both ways is not going to happen. Obviously they should try it. It'd be cool, but I think they're eventually going to figure out that he needs to play on one side of the ball most of the time in order to be more effective. Their defense is a little shaky, so I think 2 is a good spot for them. Winning the division for the third year in a row, I believe, is the Houston Texans, and I have them going 11-6. Houston is an interesting team, man. I feel like they have 3 of the best defenders in the entire division, in Will Anderson Jr., Danielle Hunter, and Derek Stingley Jr. Just 3 monster defensive players. And then CJ Stroud, Nico Collins. Like, what else is there to be said? Nico Collins, I don't think people realize how big this dude is. 6'5", 6'6" receiver, just huge target. He is great. Just as long as they have those two. Their offensive line is obviously shaky. They traded away Laramie Tunsil, but I think they can still get it done just having CJ Stroud and Nico Collins. I do like the receivers they drafted as well. I believe Jalen Higgins, Jalen Noel. I think their offense will be fine, and they might have the best defense in the league. So, Houston Texans winning the division for sure and going to the playoffs for the 3rd straight year. Now, last but not least, the AFC North. Probably a division with 3 just absolute monster teams, and then one team where you're like, what are they doing? That team is the Cleveland Browns, who are finishing 4th, coming at 3-14. starting Joe Flacco. If you look at their schedule, they have an absolute insane schedule. They might start 0-6. And it's probably not going to be good for Joe Flacco. He's probably going to get hit a lot. Jerry Jeudy. I like their a guy on their team. I was watching them. Trasher. Saw Dylan Gabriel find him a lot. And yeah, I feel like all the Browns coverage just about Shedeur Sanders and whenever he's going to start, but he might not even start until week 17 or 18. I think Dylan Gabriel probably takes over for a bit after. I think he'll be competent. I think he knows how to run offense. He made some nice reads in the preseason. He found the open man. He threw some nice balls. So I think he has a little Tua-esque demeanor. And yeah, I think the Browns will finish as probably the worst team in the league. Actually behind New Orleans, but one of the worst teams in the league. But, they have that Shedeur, Dylan Gabriel storyline, which, keeps you intrigued a little bit. But, yeah, Cleveland finishing at 4th. At the 3rd spot, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. And I actually did this prediction before Trey Hendrickson signed. And I'm not really sure it changes my prediction all that much, because he was there last year and they went 9-8 and missed the playoffs. So their defense should be a little bit better, just because it's impossible to be that bad. And there were games last season where their offense had to score every single possession for them to win a game, and I just don't think that's possible. I do think they'll have a bad defense, but with Shamar Stewart, Trey Hendrickson, Cam Taylor-Britt getting a little better, I think they can make a little improvement on that and go 10-7, maybe 11-6, that range. Maybe 9-8 gets them in the playoffs. Who knows? But I have them in that range. They still have Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Absolute monster trio. Jamar Chase, I think he's the best receiver in the league right now. Just his ability to get yards after the catch. He can pretty much take any route to the house, if you think about it. He can catch a slant, take it to the house. He can catch a hitch, take it to the house. Catch a post, take it to the house. He is an insane receiver. And just the way he plays is so physical, and it's one of the more fun players to watch, if not the most exciting player to watch in the league right now. And T. Higgins, just a monster number 2. If you didn't know, T. Higgins is actually bigger than Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is about 6'1". T. Higgins is 6'3". He is a big guy. He is really good at running routes, and I think he can have as good of a year as he's ever had, especially with Jamar Chase getting a lot of the attention. And they just got Noah Fant as well. I think Gesicki and Fant is a nice tight end combo. I think those guys will catch a lot of red zone touchdowns, and I think the Bengals will be back in the playoffs. At the number 2 slot, I actually have the Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot of people are down on this team. I feel like every year people just say, this is the year that Mike Tomlin has a losing season. I don't believe it's going to be this year. They always have a competent defense. They got TJ Watt done, Cam Hayward's back. I honestly like the Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith for Minka trade. It kind of just removes that problem of, when are you going to pay me? So it's kind of my problem for your problem. Jalen Ramsey's, a Hall of Fame player, so I think he can be nice back there. I like Beanie Bishop too, so they got Joey Porter and Darius Slay, so I think they'll be fine back there. And then anytime you have TJ Watt, your defense will be good. So the question about them is if Aaron Rodgers has it or not. And he did have 28 touchdowns and seven or nine interceptions last year, something like that. But his numbers were way better than he actually looked in real life in the games. But and sometimes numbers can be misleading. But those are his stats, and I do think he's not the same player he was, obviously, when he won those back-to-back MVPs. But Pittsburgh has made the playoffs with Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, Duck Hodges, Justin Fields, the bones of Russell Wilson, just throwing those moon balls. So I think they can make it with Aaron Rodgers, even if he's at, 65% of what he once was. And they got those two tight ends for him, Jonnu Smith, Pat Freiermuth. They can run the ball a lot with Jalen Warren, Caleb Johnson. And I think Aaron Rodgers needs to get the ball out really quickly. And he's got those two tight ends, DK Metcalf. I'm not sure how the long ball will look to DK. Whether Aaron Rodgers wants to sit in that pocket and get hit, which I don't think he does, but maybe they'll just run a lot of slants with DK. And there's a lot of hype about Calvin Austin, their second guy, which we kind of like, and Roman Wilson, one of their first or second round picks from a couple years ago. He missed all of last season, but he's a Michigan guy. I think he can make an impact for them as well. So I think Pittsburgh is gonna still make the playoffs. Go 11-6, 10-7. They're, I think they're gonna fight with Cincinnati till the end, and I think they're gonna snag one of those last two wild card spots eventually. And yeah, Aaron Rodgers' last dance for him, so I don't think he's going to miss the playoffs. I think he's going to be on his best behavior. He's going to play his best ball he has in a long time. He's going to have that Brett Favre Viking season. And I don't know if they'll be in the championship game, but I think he'll have a nice, he'll have a nice last season. And, people will applaud him on the way out, which he deserves. He's one of the all-time greats, and he can throw that football for sure. He's one of the funnest quarterbacks to watch of all time, and I used to root against him, and now I just respect greatness. So I'm rooting for Aaron Rodgers to have a good season, and I think he will. And the Pittsburgh Steelers will be above 500 like Mike Tomlin has always been. With that being said, the Baltimore Ravens will win the division like they always do. Like the Buffalo Bills, they are an incredibly well-oiled machine. Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, just an insane combo. It's just hard to guard those guys, man. No one wants to tackle Derrick Henry, and then you get that read option, and Lamar's running, and Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers wide open touchdown, Mark Andrews wide open touchdown, Isaiah Likely wide open touchdown. It's really hard to stop that offense, and I don't think this is the year that everyone's going to figure out how to do it. So I think Baltimore goes 12-5, 13-4. I can see that. I think they win the division, and their defense is really good too. They turned it on at the end of last season, and I think they drafted Malachi Starks. That's safety. I think he's a really good player, and they got Roquan. They always just have a solid defense, that culture, and they're just well coached, and Just a great football organization overall, and Lamar Jackson is just incredible. He's always in the MVP debate, and yeah, I think Baltimore wins the division. Okay, so those are my AFC picks. I want to tell you my playoff teams. Just recap that for you. So I have Buffalo winning the AFC East, Kansas City winning the AFC West, Houston winning the AFC South, Baltimore winning the AFC North. And then the 3 wild card spots, I have the LA Chargers, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Cincinnati Bengals. So yeah, that's 2 teams from the AFC, or 3 teams from the AFC North making the playoffs, just like last year. And 2 wild card spots. I was really tempted to put my team, the New England Patriots, in the playoffs, but I think it'll come down to the last week, and I think strength of schedule is probably going to play a factor, and Cincinnati will take it from them, unfortunately, but I would be happy to be proven wrong. Patriots in the playoffs would be amazing to see, but yeah, those are my predictions. No bias, just what I think is going to happen. I think the AFC Championship game, I'm going to go with Kansas City, who is just always in it, and I'm going Buffalo. So Buffalo versus Kansas City in the AFC Championship game. A repeat from last year. So that is my picks for the AFC. Hope you guys enjoyed listening to that. The next podcast, I will be going through the NFC and going through my NFC predictions, who I have coming out of the NFC, and I'll give you my Super Bowl, who I think is going to go to Super Bowl and who's going to win it. Let me give you a couple of awards I have as well. I think Defensive Player of the Year is going to be TJ Watt. I think Aiden Hutchinson also has a chance. I think he is a beast of a player, and I think he's going to have a great bounce back year. He might win Comeback Player of the Year. And then Coach of the Year, I have my guy, Mike Vrabel, winning it for the 2nd time in his career. And then I'll give you MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, in the next podcast, along with my NFC predictions. All right, this is fun. See you guys in the next one.